Hello and welcome everyone to the Jupyter IPython developers call for Tuesday, June 13th. I hope everyone is doing well. I am going to go ahead and work our way through the agenda, which can be found in Dropbox paper. I have posted, oh wait, no, I haven't. I will post a link to the notes within the chat. So that you can follow along on the agenda. And there is a link to previous months' notes and agendas with it at the very top of this week's agenda. So feel free to look back through previous agendas if you would like. The only action item that we have, I believe, was entered last week by M. And I didn't see him on the call. Does anyone know or have any news on
off
this?
work for a week.
Oh, nice. So I will go ahead and leave that action item then in there until we can get an update from him, unless anybody knows anything about that. Sounds like no. Okay, so going through action items from previous months, any updates? We'll skip the first one also from M. Although as of last week, he was still looking for user stories on configurable exports. So if anyone has any of those, feel free to share with M. And I don't think Jason was on the call. No. Grant, I feel like we ask you this every meeting about. You feel free to take that off of there if you want us to stop harassing you. But any updates on issues?
No updates at this time.
Okay. Still have goals though. That's good. Good to have goals. So next section is the weekly news by organization. Feel free to click through on the links there to read more about what's happening with the individual projects. And Fernando is not on the call, so I don't have any updates on project management. Does anyone have anything else they want to add to that before we move on to Jessica's update? Actually, Jessica's not on the call. Oh, right. She has right here in the notes. She's going to be in a conference, so it sounds like she's unable to join us. So just reading through some of the things that she's taken note of. She started building a Jupyter Lab demo documentation, and so she's got links in there. Ran into some issues. I'm assuming people can click through and help her with that if need be. And she's going to be using videos of demos from YouTube to build high-level user content in the meantime. So I think we'll be the goal with her building those things is kind of to start to build some tutorials for Jupyter Lab as something that we can put out into the community to help with the launch of Jupyter Lab. So look for more information on that in the coming weeks. Looking forward to having some resources on that and having Jessica work on that. So we will move on now to notebook updates. I don't think Thomas is on the call. So Grant, did you put that note in there?
Yeah, so.
Oh, Thomas is on the call. Sorry. Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
Thomas?
Yeah, so I just thought somebody on an issue made a request that we release 5.1 because there's a new feature that's useful for the thing that he's doing. And I noticed it's been a couple of months since we did Notebook 5.0, and there's a few things that have got merged, so we can probably start trying to funnel ourselves towards getting a new release out.
Yeah, agreed. I will help with that.
Yeah, especially since it also fixed keyboard shortcut issue on non-English keyboard, if I remember correctly. Like
Yes.
square brackets is something that you might want to type when you're programming. So it would be good.
Yeah, it'd be good to get that fixed.
Okay. All right. Anything else on Notebook before we move on?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So we'll skip over NB convert unless anyone has anything to add. And we will move on to services. Chris or UV, do you want to take that? Let's see. Are either of them on the call? Chris, I do see Chris on the call. Chris, do you want to share any updates? Maybe not ready to talk. So let's see.
Sorry, were you talking about updates about Jupyter and Jupyter Lab? That didn't sound like the topic. I was thinking there might be another Chris on the call.
No, this has your name on it. Oh, you're right.
No,
There's
that's
more than
another
one Chris now. There's more than one Chris now, darn it. Yeah, okay. So this is probably for the other Chris. I'm talking about services, kernel gateway, Docker stacks, NB viewer. Yes, thank you,
Yeah,
Matthias.
another Chris. No problem.
There. So yeah, links to, and does anyone want to talk through those updates? I'm not really understanding what they're about, or if there's any action items for the community.
This is Carol. Peter just put some updates into kernel gateway, and he's had some work conflicts, so hasn't been able to join the call. But and then as far as Kubernetes and things like that, UV and Chris have been working on moving that forward as well, in anticipation of supporting Binder and other things.
Okay, nice, awesome. Thanks, Carol. And so now we can update on Jupyter Lab. Who wants to take that?
Go ahead. Feature-wise, we had the landing page or launcher page restructure, so that when you click new, file new or new from a file browser, you get a tab that has a list of activities, and then you one-click launch the one you want to start, and it replaces that pane. So if you've moved it to a spot, that's where the new activity starts. Ian has put some fixes that will improve in the next release the real-time collaboration experience with collaborative hover, and then there was this box that would come up to tell you that the file timestamps are out of sync. Just the quirk of it being real-time, but now that'll be fixed in the next release. Darian finished the first round of the settings feature as in master. Next, he's working on making the specification of the settings backed by a JSON schema. So he's working through the details of that right now. And other than that, on extension side, I added the ability to enable or disable extensions without doing a rebuild, and also a version compatibility check for extensions, so we can detect upfront if the JavaScript libraries used by the extension are compatible with the ones being used by Jupyter Lab. And then overall, continuing, Brian's been doing the UX and UI review for the beta release, and we've been just plugging through those and trying to get everything cleaned up and ready to go. That's it.
Nice. Any other?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I also released the read-only version of the Phosphor data grid yesterday. So I put a link it's the last item under the Jupyter Lab thing in the Dropbox paper. If you go to that link, it's an issue on the Phosphor repo that is tracking feature requests. So it lists the current features that are available and gives a link to a live example that everybody can play around with. And then has a bunch of feature requests for things that I plan on implementing. If a feature request is not listed, there are instructions in that issue about how to request a new feature. And then if everybody could go there and upvote the things that they want to see most, basically what's most relevant to their work, that'll help me prioritize the order in which I implement new features. So that'd be great. Thanks.
Nice. Anything else on Jupyter Lab before we move on? Sounds like a lot of stuff going on. Okay, So we'll move on now to, let's see, I know Brian is not on the call. Let me just double check. No, Brian is not on the call. So we'll skip over MB format. Any updates on IPyWidgets, Jupyter Hub, or IPython in that order? I'm going to go with none for IPyWidgets. Jason, Sylvan, I don't think either of them were on the call. Carol, I don't think Min is on the call. Do you have any updates on Jupyter Hub? I know you were out at PyCon
Yeah.
Taiwan and you got back last night, so I'm guessing probably not.
Just, development continues on the next Jupyter Hub release. One thing of note is we did add to the README of Jupyter Hub a link to a Kerberos authenticator that I think the bulk of the work had been done by Bloomberg. So for those people that are using Kerberos, you might want to check out that authenticator. And also the Jupyter Lab has been updated for Jupyter Hub as well. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Carol. Nothing noteworthy under the sun for IPython, says Matthias. So we'll move on to other technical notes. Looks like Thomas has something to announce there. Thomas, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's something that we discussed a bit already. This proposal I made for more flexible systems for discovering kernels available on a computer. So you can combine different ways of finding kernels rather than having sort of one kernel finding machinery that you have to replace in its entirety. And yeah, there was some productive discussion on that, but I think it's stalled a bit. I'm fairly busy at the moment, but I'd still like to see that it goes in or goes forwards. I just wanted to remind people of it.
Okay. Sounds good. And look for so there was some discussion about governance at the team meeting in Berkeley, and we'll look to Fernando in the next couple of weeks for some announcements, but nothing at this point, nothing new to share at this point. Please continue adding to the conferences calendar in GitHub, anywhere that you're speaking or anything that you'd like to invite the Jupyter community to, please feel free to continue sharing items there. One final reminder on the JupyterCon financial aid application for students that is due this Wednesday. So if you know of anyone who wants to go to JupyterCon, is looking for help with travel and the conference fee and that sort of thing, please encourage them to apply by tomorrow. Is tomorrow the 16th? I think it is. Or is it? No, that's this Friday. Somebody, please correct me. Matthias is nodding, but I said 2 dates. Is it Wednesday or Friday?
It's Friday,
Friday.
I believe.
Friday.
It's the 13th.
Okay. Well, yeah, true. Okay, so for the team meeting spring fall, I'm researching. Fall. For the fall meeting, I'm researching a venue, and I hope to have some announcements by the end of this week. If you know any space in New York where 25 of us might meet, please reach out to me and let me know. New events, I don't think there's anything new listed on there. So if you have anything else that you want to add, please go ahead and add it there. Carol, do you want to talk about your experience at PyCon Taiwan at all, or anything to share on any of the upcoming events?
Sure. PyCon Taiwan was absolutely wonderful. It was really, oops, sorry, I just muted myself. It was very focused on data science. there's a very strong Python community there, as well as a very strong R community. And a number of the folks from the R community that saw one of the Jupyter Lab slides that I had in my talk on education really were very excited about Jupyter Lab. So that was nice to see. And it would be a great place to do PyData in the future because there were a lot of advanced talks about TensorFlow and machine learning and developing bots to perform tasks and robotics. It was really quite fun. So, and everybody wanted me to thank the Jupyter team for making the tools that they use every day. So, and other than that, not much else going on.
Awesome. Okay, good. Thanks for that. Thanks for that update. Anything else anyone wants to talk about related to events or conferences or any talks that you're giving coming up? Feel free to share at this point. If not, we will move into action items and releases to go ahead and wrap up the meeting. Okay, sounds like no. Oh, Thomas, go ahead.
Min, Vidar and I are planning to put together a proposal to talk about NVVal at EuroSciPy, which is in Germany in August.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Anything else on events and conferences before we move on? Okay, so it looks like an action item inserted there is, so help me out here with the Chris's. Was that Chris Colbert who added an action item for phosphor? Thank you. Yes, so Chris, do you want to talk about that, or is that just a general note for the community? Looks like Chris is looking for,
I added an action item. Oh, I guess somebody did that on my behalf. I talked about that earlier in the call.
Okay, got it. So we can skip over that. I will add that. I will push that up to the top of the list for next week. So now we can talk about releases. Looks like there were a couple releases last week, a couple happening this week, and some coming soon. Anyone want to talk about any of those? Go ahead. Quiet. Okay, so releases for last week. Anything on that? No, Carol says no. Releases for this week and to be released soon. Last chance. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the call now.
Actually, I would like to thank Damian for updating Rise. I know there's a lot of people out in the community that use it, and he's got a post on the mailing list for it. So thank you, Damian, for getting that done.
Awesome.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Okie dokie. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. One last chance. Anything to add before we go ahead and end the recording? Alrighty, everyone, have an awesome rest of your week. It's good to see you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.